Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. Our next guest on a mission to change the negative stereotypes associated with the dental chair. She opened Miami's first upscale cosmetic dental practice and cosmetic medical surgery facility. So we welcome to our show Dr. Shamroc Peterson, best known as Dr. Patty. Hi, Dr. Patty.
Hey, Mitch, how are you?
I'm super fantastic. I'm so glad you're here because there are a lot of myths that people believe, and sometimes they follow them, sometimes they don't. We're going to get to those, but before we do, you offer everything pretty much in a surgical beauty. What would you say is actually the number one procedure that patients are requesting these days?
The number one procedure that clients are requesting these days are veneers.
Veneers, which are basically they go on top of your teeth, right? To make them look like
They
they're
go
real?
on top of your teeth. So porcelain that goes on top of your teeth to make them look perfect, white, and just like beautiful.
I love it. And the procedure is relatively easy to put on veneers, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually 2 appointments.
Okay, wow, that's really good. All right.
Right.
We're here to talk, because you're the expert on this. You're going to break down some myths that people have about a healthy smile. I'm going to give you the myth. You tell me exactly if it's true or not, or if it actually works, or should they stay away from it. The first one is sugar causes cavities. Boy, I've heard that growing up all my life. Is that true?
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Okay.
Sugars do cause cavities, yes. As those sugars break down in your teeth, if they are not removed and they stay there, they cause breakdown in your teeth, which is basically a cavity.
All right, very
True.
good. So true on that one. Next one, that bad breath, that simple chronic halitosis is caused by bad brushing.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that is true, but it's not just bad brushing. Generally, it's an overall lack of oral health care. And it's usually due to also just like not going to the dentist. So when you brush your teeth, you actually can only take your brush bristles so far underneath the gum line.
Okay.
The bad breath is generally coming from underneath the gums.
And what is it
So
like?
if you're not getting dental cleanings regularly with a dental provider, yes.
You're going to get it.
So
You're
you
gonna
can be
get that.
brushing good.
You can get
you know?
you're going to get the Zackleys, basically, is what you're saying. And it's bacteria building up. Am I right or wrong on that? That's what's
Yes,
causing that? Okay.
underneath the gums. So
All
yes,
right.
so that myth is it's a weird one. So it's not necessarily from bad brushing. It's like you could be brushing really good. I have clients who like but haven't been to the dentist for like 5 years, but they're like, oh, but I brush really good.
Not always the thing. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about brushing. The myth is the harder you brush, the more plaque that you're going to get off your teeth. True or false?
That's false.
Okay.
So the better you brush, technique is what is important here. So you could be brushing really hard and like brushing your gums away and, which could lead to recession, but like you may not necessarily be brushing in a way that's technically like removing all the plaque out of your teeth. And especially if you're using a regular toothbrush and not a power like electronic toothbrush.
And if my understanding, if you do it too hard, you can take some of the enamel off. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And enamel never grows back, I've also heard.
Never grows back.
Okay, so yeah, we want to make sure we take care of that. All right, our next one, if you breathe into your hand, you can tell if you have bad breath or not. True or false?
True. Or if you're breathing into your mask and you're like, well, that is what everyone else is smelling.
Okay, I'm glad you I've always heard that. I could never breathe and smell at the same time, so I never know, or maybe I never had bad breath, which I don't think is the case.
You can lick also.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Also.
All right, yeah, and I don't, recommend it. I don't look at my hand. All right, but if you got to do it, you got to do it. All right, this one is a perception thing. If you have pearly white teeth, that means that they're nice and healthy.
No, I have seen pearly white teeth that when you touch them, they're like, so
oh, really?
That's not, yeah. So it's all about, it's just like if you see a beautiful building, then it must be perfectly built. Well, if the foundation is not poured properly, then it's not necessarily a good building, a healthy building.
Gotcha.
And it's the same with teeth. If the foundation is not healthy, regardless of how white the teeth are, that you see is like what's under the gums.
You have to get that foundation. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, people believe that if chewing gum is kind of like a replacement for brushing. Is that a myth or is that true?
Myth.
Really?
Absolutely not.
I'm sorry, it was like, Nobody wants to see all you chewing your cud, right?
No, no.
I'm
Especially if
loving
it has
this.
sugar in it, right?
Exactly, yeah, and then it has even more sugar, which goes back to what you were talking about. All right, I've heard this before, and people were swearing by it, but coconut oil will whiten your teeth.
Okay, so it is a myth. However, let me clarify because people love their coconut oil and
Yes.
coconut wine. What happens is when people start using coconut oil, they overall start paying more attention to their teeth, their mouth. They're like swishing, they're like, in the mirror. So all of a sudden, they're like paying more attention to their teeth.
Okay.
And generally, what happens is their oral health care is increasing and getting better because they're now paying more attention. They're like brushing. They're like, So if you were just to do coconut oil swishing, no mirror, no, I don't know how much of a change you would see. So it is sort of a myth, but I tell people do it because for sure they start paying more attention to their oral health care, and I see positive results.
Okay, we go from coconut oil to mouthwash. Some people believe you don't really need the mouthwash. Is that true?
Mouthwash isn't necessary. Mouthwash is not necessary. I think it's for people who prefer it, but it's not necessary. It's a myth.
All right, very good. All right, let me ask you, Dr. Patty, who's been this. What's the takeaway advice for people out there? If you say you want a healthy smile, what advice would you give them?
Right. So if you want a healthy smile, you need to make sure you're taking care of the foundation. You need to see a healthcare provider every 3 to 6 months, depending on the health of your bone. And I always recommend to my clients to use an electronic toothbrush, not a battery operated, but a plug-in toothbrush. It is like literally the difference between clients. I see a lot of clients who are out on a yacht for a year, and I see them back. If they're using an electronic toothbrush, what I see when they come back to me is like phenomenal.
Oh, very good. Well, I guess I know what I'm about to get. I'm going to give me one of those. Thank you so much, Dr. Patty. We would love having you on here and appreciate it. And if you can do anything about that noise the drill makes, I'd appreciate it, okay?
You got it, Mitch.
All right.
Have a good one.
More Daily
Bye.
Flash after this.